So earlier I talked about we're going to put gutters up on this house, and I'm going to show you why we're putting gutters up on this house. First reason why is from what Ramjack told me, is that this house was built on fill. And if we walk over here, you can get a real good idea of what he means by that, because look at the slope on this thing where they had brought the fill in order to get a good piece of level ground to build on. Well, over time the fill has settled and what Ramjack's recommendation was is that because it's built on fill and because we did have some settling issues with this, the fact that this thing has no gutters on it leads to a situation where you've got these little trenches that start forming next to the walls. And Ramjack was telling me that what this does is the water penetrates the ground underneath the foundation because it's not being directed away from the house. And because it's not being directed away from the house, it starts eroding, number one. And number two, the soil expands and contracts as it gets wet and gets dry, gets wet and gets dry. The other thing is right here in this corner, the water runs off and it creates a big, let me get my shadow out of the way, creates a big hole right here. Now, it's useless to try and do anything about this hole from a mulch standpoint or anything else until such time as this situation gets corrected. So, because of the foundation issue again, and the fact that we want to make sure we sell somebody a really good product, is we're going to put gutters on this house. So that's what the plan is, and that's why we're going to put gutters on this house. One other thing, interesting thing to note, up here in the front, right here on this corner, I got talking to the guy who's going to do the gutters, and he was talking about downspouts. Well, you're going to need a downspout up here on this corner or something like it. So we opted to go with something like it. So what you'll see here is, because the post, if you look at where the fascia is and then look at the distance to the post and then having to come down the post, you got this nice pretty round post right here. You're going to have this nice ugly 6-inch downspout coming down off of this. So when he and I were talking about this, what we opted to do is on this end, instead of putting a downspout, we're going to install what's called a rain chain. So what'll happen is, up here in this area right here, the gutters will be built with a attachment or a fixture for a downspout. However, we're not going to put a downspout on it. What we're going to do is, there's this thing called a rain chain, and you just basically drop it right in that hole and it hangs down to the ground. Then when it rains, the water will come down off the roof, come into this spot right here, and then run down the chain down to the ground. Basically, it does the same thing that a downspout would do as far as directing the water away from the house, but we don't have to put an ugly downspout on this house, and we really don't have to do what it would take to get the downspout to come from here over to here and then down this nice looking column and kind of destroy the whole appearance of the house. So that's what we're going back with on this one. When we put the gutters in, is will be 6-inch downspouts on all the corners except for this one corner. And this corner will have a rain chain. Looking at the cost of rain chains, they run anywhere from $75 to $185, which I thought was unbelievable. But there's some very pretty rain chains out there if you want to Google them and go on Amazon and take a look.